All right. Whoops. Waking up in the dream. Such an exciting time right now. Gonna wait for a couple people to show up here and magnetically get aligned with our frequencies and our thoughts. Super, super key to get playful right now as we go through some of the final phases of this incredible shift. So much good happening right now. Do you see it? Can you find it? Have you tuned your frequency to attract it, to hold that space for it? Even if the old program or the ego wants to point out something else that's wrong. And it's a fine line, you know, we're shining light on a lot of the dark, and that's key. But the key is that I really want to dive into is, what is our moment to moment frequency? It's everything. It's everything. And what is our frequency? Frequency or vibration? What is that created by? Is it just created randomly? Are we born with it? Are we just lucky if we have a high frequency? No, it's created through our thoughts and our words and the emotional frequency or vibration that we put behind that, which attracts all these timelines of possibilities, desires, potential timelines that are already here. They're already here. They're not in the future. This is what's so fascinating and why I love the waking up in the dream journey. Because for me, it's the fastest way to see why we're manifesting and attracting or repelling what's showing up in our individual and collective dreams. Because we're dreaming all the time. We're dreaming right now. The key is, are we consciously setting our frequency? Have we trained ourselves through practice and awareness to feel in each moment whether we're being playful and loving and excited, or are we pulled into drama, judgment, worry, doubt, shame, guilt? It's a game changer. It changes everything. And that's why I love taking people through this process, because to me, it's the most life-changing thing I've ever done. And I see it happen with every single person that I journey with every day, every week, every month. And so I'm excited to come on here because for those of you that may have attended, hey, Sarah, hey, Claire, hey, Elaine, thanks for your comment. This is a Q&A. So if anybody has any questions around what we're going to dive into, inner healing, setting your frequency, clearing trauma, wounds, forgiveness, all this stuff is key, because here's the key to get and become aware of if you're not already. We are walking magnets. This body is a magnet. It is a generator, a holder, and a resonator of energy, which is frequency. So everything in the universe, everybody that watches this, I'm sure knows, it's all manifested and created through frequency and vibration. You know, Great quote from Tesla. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. So, anybody could go, well, we know that, Jeff. Okay, great. That's cool. So we heard that in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Why didn't they teach us to focus on that? Why didn't they teach us these tools? Now, most of you have figured out the systems that are in place were not set up to empower us. They were set up, they're all inverted. The school system, religion, the money system, the system of fake law, where you sign your name, you sign away your power on every single thing you do, from your birth certificate to every contract. It's great. Okay? It'll piss you off at first, but this is why we're here. And what is being revealed right now on a global, monumental scale is incredible. It's frustrating. We're seeing a lot of people that are basically selling their soul for a donut. They're all proud they got their card because they got a free donut and they just took the jab, and they're convinced that they're doing something good because they fell prey to the television. And so our goal, and not even goal, commitment, is to hold compassion for every single person. Okay. I used to call them sheeple. I'm like, okay, well, that's a good name to kind of highlight that, but it's not anymore, because that's the ego. That's the ego putting ourselves above and going, they're lower than us. They're not. They're just mirrors. Everybody is you. Everybody is you. And if you can get cool, or a better word would be, if you can be open to that which my teacher, everybody's my teacher, but Don Miguel Ruiz shared that with me in 2001. He said, Jeff, everybody is you. In my mind, in my ego, nah, I'm not a pedophile. I'm not. Well, it's deeper than that. And this is one of the things that we're going to dive into, is that what we think we know is usually limiting us in a massive, massive, massive way. I'm going to say that again. What we think we know. In other words, the belief system. It's a prison. It is nothing more than a set of finite and very, very key word here, limiting. It's a prison. Now you could say, well, what about the belief that love is the answer in every situation and that we are truly unlimited, sovereign, divine, multidimensional beings? I would say to that, yeah. Those are the only two beliefs I kept when my mentor got me to go through and look and write down, Jeff, write down all your beliefs. And I was like, okay, I believe this, I believe this, I believe this. And I'm thinking, I'm doing really good. I'm writing down all the really good beliefs that feel really good. And then he's like, where did those beliefs come from? And then the light bulb went off. It was a life-changing moment for me on my awakening journey. I'd already known when I was a kid that most of the systems were inverted. I didn't know what the word inverted meant. I didn't know anything about spirituality or anything, but I grew up in private Catholic school from the 2nd grade. I was an altar boy in church almost every Sunday. My intuition knew that there was something really wrong. It was Judgment Day every day. It was shame and guilt day every day. Okay, so that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But the point is, belief system. What we think we know is usually 100% limiting us. And this is the key, because this is where you will see so many people in the external reacting in becoming triggered to anything that challenges their belief system or that touches on a childhood wound or trauma. So this is why when I take people through the waking up in the dream transformational experience, the number one first part is inner healing. And it happens very quickly for anybody that's ready. It's not like the dark night of the soul. Why do you think they named it that? So nobody would want to go there. And there's all this subconscious belief that, oh, it's the dark night of the soul. That's going to be really difficult. So I'm going to go have a reading from somebody else to tell me, I'm going to give my power away, instead of just diving in and going, okay, what happened to me? What haven't I still forgiven? And that's it. Do I need to cry some tears? Do I need to pound on some pillows and get some anger out? Boom. It can be done in a day. I do it with people every week. So the key is you can see in the external, especially through the tell-eye vision and the systems of programming, the media, and people like Gaggle that are blocking and inverting the truth. You can feel it. You can feel it. And you just go, okay, all right. So what is the correct response to seeing darkness? Observation. Observing over reacting. Reacting is 3D. What is a reaction? Observing is a reaction, but I'm talking about low vibrational reactions that attract and magnetize more of that which we do not desire. I'm talking judgments, condemning others, calling people names, lack of compassion, and projecting our wounds onto other people. It is so simple to begin to attract the timelines, the people, the abundance, the lifestyle that you desire if you're simply willing to go through the process. And nobody, for the most part, ever showed us how to do it. In school, they taught us what to think. They didn't teach us how to think. They didn't teach us how to process an emotion. What do you do when you have a trigger? What do you do when you have a less than thought? It's so simple. Yet, here's where people get trapped. Because of all the media, Republican versus Democrat, White Lives Matter, blah, they know how to play people like puppets, man. Dangling. I mean, look, the entire world's wearing a mask. There is no other animal on the planet that would ever, ever, ever even think about restricting their breathing. Are you kidding me? I mean, so let's observe, okay? It's really good to laugh. It's great to keep a sense of humor. I'm not making fun of anybody. However, this is what the media does. And when we give our power away, and even when something tells us in our head, which is happening all over the world now rapidly, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong, and I've got a choice to say no, or I'm afraid if I don't wear my mask in 7-Eleven that other people are going to judge me. Well, the whole world is locked down right now because of fear. When, come on, the majority of people know it's a scam. There's so much proof in our face right now, a first grader could figure it out. Yet, just observe how many people don't want to admit now, and this is really key. We've got to be willing to really, really be honest with ourselves. And this is a big part of healing. You know, I journey with a lot of people that tell their story. My mom did this to me. My dad did this to me. This person did this to me in 3rd grade. And they're still pissed off about it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 decades later. That's their story. I can talk to somebody for 2 or 3 minutes and know exactly where the wound is and where to go. It's that simple. It's not because I'm so great. It's because I've been doing this for 20 years and I've sat with Miguel and many other teachers and I've observed people tell their story and I've observed how we go in and dismantle it through the tools that I share in the book, Waking Up in the Dream. It's a step-by-step process that works every time when you're ready. And so observing and noticing and holding your frequency, okay? So anytime we have a judgment, it's sticky. Guess what? I used to be a judgeaholic. Anybody that's seen my lives or read the book knows I wrote an entire chapter on judgment because it's the biggest addiction on the planet. But more importantly, I wrote it on how to see it, how to catch the frequency of it every single time, and how to dismantle it. So every time we judge somebody, we're stealing from our own bank of happiness. The ego in the beginning loves to feed off of it. It's amazing that the ego was just trained to feed on poison. It's very interesting to observe that. And when you see it, you'll go, wow, judgment is the biggest addiction on the planet. And guess how they set it up? The media. So everybody, and religion. So everybody would have different opinions and nobody would agree and everybody would be separated. It's very, very brilliant from the people that had all their DNA activated and hijacked our DNA. That's a brilliant plan. And now all the inversions are backfiring and we're here at the greatest time in recorded history. It's fabulous. And so I am so excited to be able to bring forth and simply use this technology to, first of all, remind Jeff. Everything that I say, I'm reminding Jeff. Everything I wrote in the book was to remind me. I never planned on writing a book. I'm a recording engineer, music guy, nature boy. That's my thing. You know, some of you have heard the story of how my home, had some flood damage and I lost my home and my recording studio in San Diego and, went on this adventure and ended up in Thailand and, but everything is a gift. And the original title of the book was called Finding the Gift, because there is a gift in every single challenge. There's a gift in every judgment, because every judgment's about you. The trap and the trick of the hologram, and when I talk about the hologram, I'm talking about when we're looking out there, it's a mirror. It's a mirror. We think other people are doing things to us in the beginning, but they're not. I mean, now this one you can go, well, what about the people that are poisoning the air, food, and the water, and the people that are, harming and sacrificing the children? Yeah, that's part of the collective. I'm talking about to get out of 3D and begin to attract only those timelines that you desire, only the abundance, only the perfect health, wonderful relationships with people that they don't talk about drama and judgment. They're only interested in mind-expanding, wonderful conversations because they realize that they are magnetizing more of that into their life through being excited about it and holding that frequency every day. So the biggest key is to do the inner healing first and foremost. That's part one of the 3-part process. And it's real simple. It doesn't take 10, 20, 30, 40 years. I guide people through this in 30 days. And by the second week, pretty much everybody's like, oh my God, why doesn't everybody know this? They've done the forgiveness process and then they've dismantled their belief system. And it's so step by step that there's no way you can mess it up. You write down at the end of every day, every time you caught the judgment and the trigger, and you start to lovingly shine the light on it. And you're amazed at how many thoughts and automatics that you and most everybody else does. And they justify it. And they don't even catch it. They justify that they're right. And this is what we do in the beginning. And this is the biggest trap. And this is why judgment's the biggest addiction on the planet. And I'll explain it. When we have an emotional reaction, a judgment, a lower vibrational feeling, okay? A trigger, fear, shame, guilt, doubt, feeling less than, feeling judged, feeling wronged by somebody else. There is an emotional frequency that happens to our body. It's a protection mechanism that was set up in the beginning to keep us safe. Now, for many people, they haven't dismantled that protection mechanism, which I call a trigger or the automatic reactor in the book. So we've got to be able to see the automatic reactor in order to dismantle it. Because we can't dismantle a program that we can't see. This is really, really key. This is where 100% ownership comes in, and not projecting that other people are doing things to you. That's the trap. That's the trick of the hologram. It's reversed. It's mirroring back to us the frequencies that we're holding. Okay? And I'll get to the questions in a second. So, yes, Anthony, people have clicked the clicker more than 1,000 times. And that's 1,000 wins, man. High five. Because many people will just justify their reactions. And here's why. Because when they have that emotional hit, trigger that's uncomfortable, the reaction, the untrained ego will tell them that they are right. You ever heard somebody, I'm right? You can feel it in their face. They're triggered. Their energy is low vibrational trigger. Well, guess what? Here's the aha moment. You're not right because you felt a trigger. You simply felt an emotional trigger. But the untrained ego will make you think that you are right because you haven't seen the program and you haven't cleared the wound. Super, super key to get this. Unless somebody gets this and sees it and dismantles it, they will be a victim for their entire life. For their entire life. Most likely. Because they don't understand. And I get people in the beginning that I journey with them. They're like, I don't understand why I keep attracting the same type of people in life and relationships. It's because they're holding that belief. They're holding shame, not good enough, guilt, judgment, or they haven't forgiven somebody, and they're holding that frequency of something that happened to them. And instead of seeing that that was an agreed upon part of their soul contract before they ever came down here, and this is where you're invited to trust. This is where you go, what's the gift? I just got triggered. What's the gift? If you say it's somebody else's fault, you lose. Now, if somebody's physically abusing you or assaulting you in a room or a relationship, get out. I do not allow anything less than love in my life or my relationships. Period. End of story. I have the tools to hold space for anybody if they get triggered, and I will mirror them calmly, and I'll give them an opportunity to look at whatever they're triggered or projecting. But if they don't want to look at it, then I'm done. They can come back later after they've had a chance to sit with it, but I do not accept anything less than love in my life, in my relationships. And here's a really big key. I do not accept it from myself. Probably the biggest key. I do not allow myself to talk down to myself anymore. I used to look in the mirror and go, my ego would find everything that's wrong. I don't like your glasses. Your hair's getting gray. Whatever. Or when I was younger and I was super handsome, I would feel the shame or the guilt of what I hadn't healed. And this is the beautiful thing about doing mirror exercises. And I take people through this process every week because it's key. And we used to sit all night long in what we would call all night long metotes with Don Miguel Ruiz and some of the other Toltec teachers. And we would sit in front of a mirror and we'd light a little candle and we'd sit there and we'd look into the mirror for hours and hours and hours. And it's amazing when you get present with yourself and stop allowing the stories to run, what begins to happen. Because all your stuff will come up. And it's a beautiful process because you get to see what you're holding against yourself and others. And this is where you get to do the forgiveness process and clear things. And it is one of the most powerful gifts that you will ever give to yourself and to other people, forgiveness. So I invite anybody that's watching this or watching the replay, how do you heal? How do you heal if you don't remember what happened to you or you're not really sure? Great question. You ask yourself, is there anyone that I need to forgive, including myself? Your higher self will bring it up. Your memory will bring it up. You may have forgotten about some things. Some people I journey with, they come back to me 3 months later and they go, oh my God, I just remembered something that happened to me in second grade and it just came up. And I'm like, great. And they go, yeah, I cleared it, because they have the tools. When you learn these tools, you will never allow yourself to hold on to judgment, shame, guilt, anger, ever, ever, ever again for more than a few seconds. Some triggers are bigger than others. Some might require sitting with for, I don't know. I can clear a trigger very quickly. Now, there's normally going to be a memory to a trigger, and that can come up. But that's just showing you, that's giving you an opportunity to go, have you really forgiven your dad for what he did to you? Here's how you can tell if you've forgiven somebody. When you think of them, you will smile and thank them. This is a big one. Now, when I journey with people, let me clarify. When I journey with people that have been physically or sexually abused and we're clearing some really, really deep, dark stuff, I don't invite them to thank the person, okay? I'm not that cold. However, in most cases, what people did to you, well, in all cases, it was a soul agreement. Now, you might not be able to understand how somebody could get physically abused, assaulted, murdered, or something really horrible, but we don't know. We don't know if we did the same thing to somebody else in a past life. All we can do is go, it happened. What are the tools for my soul's highest evolution and growth? Because guess what? If we don't clear it, it's going to come back around again and again and again. I'm not saying the event is going to happen to you again and again, but the memory, the pain, and that frequency that we're holding within, down here usually where I feel it, that's going to magnetically attract like frequencies. So that's going to attract more mirroring of pain, wounded people, unworthiness, which will mean never feeling like you're enough, that'll be mirroring back to you. Maybe not being able to attract financial abundance because you don't feel worthy. So this is really, really key. And this is why I love sharing these tools, because they're the most life-changing tools in the shortest amount of time that I've ever found. And I spent 30 years going to all the top 3-day seminars and reading all the spiritual books. And there's a lot of good stuff out there, but nothing taught me how to go in and do this 3-part process. So I put it together, and it's become very successful. And so let's talk about being playful, and then I'll get to some questions. There's a lot of heaviness on the planet that's coming up. It's actually leaving. It appears that it's getting more intense. It's actually not. The beauty of it is if you can sit back as the conscious observer and go, isn't that interesting? Which are 3 words that I invite you to write down and to make your go-to mantra anytime you have a trigger, a judgment, a less than shameful thought. When I go like that, I'm talking about low vibrational thoughts. I use my hands a lot because I'm moving a lot of energy. So when I speak of vibrations up here, down here, really like the dimensions aren't higher or lower, 3D, 5D, they're all around us. The human eye can only see like 1% of what's going on. It's fascinating. And I invite you to write down those 3 words to use as your get out of hell free mantra. Every time you have a judgment, every time you have a trigger, every time you have a less than thought, stop and take a breath. Become the observer instead of the reactor. Anytime we become the automatic reactor, we lose. Not only do we lose in that moment, but then the lesson has to come back again and repeat as many times as necessary, because the only goal of the soul's journey is to evolve. So it'll lovingly and calmly mirror back to you the same events in life, relationships, lack, self-love, or shame, or whatever it is, over and over and over, whether it takes a year or 1,000 lifetimes. And so right now, we have this incredible opportunity because we can see this stuff. All the programs are being exposed, and we have these tools that we can tune into. And so I'm just putting out an invitation, for those that it resonates with. And every day I play with these tools because conscious awareness is the only game in town. We are here to play. It's just that the whole 3D system got hijacked and inverted. Now we came here to create the shift, and it is happening. It has already happened. The light has already won. Depending on where you look, you may not see that. If you're living in, some of my clients live in the UK and Australia, it can be pretty intense there. The dark ones, things are being magnified there. And it sometimes doesn't look like things are getting better. But trust me, they are. All this stuff is coming up. I mean, it's coming up so much that it's so obvious now. And even some people still don't want to look at it. That's the ego. That's not wanting. See, here's the thing. To wake up, if you want to wake up, you got to admit that we've been lied to about almost everything. Okay? So you can either do it kicking and screaming, you can be pissed off for years, or you can just go, isn't that interesting? Man, they royally fucked us. That was diabolical. They've been killing us for years. They've been sacrificing babies. They've inverted the money system. They sold us into slavery with our birth certificate. The system of science, deception, history, most of it fake. the medical system, corporations, soulless corporations that hide behind laws that protect them. And all they do are money squeezing machines that put out things with toxic ingredient. I mean, it's okay. So you see it and you go, okay, I'm pissed. And then you go, okay, what's pissed? Pissed is a low frequency that will attract more of that. So you go, all right, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to use my higher level of awareness, and I'm going to commit every single day to beginning my day while I'm still in bed before the 50 to 80,000 thoughts start running. Because if you allow that to happen immediately, as soon as you awaken, then you're just carrying like Santa Claus all those programs and yesterday's beliefs and what you think you know. Super key. Again, I talked about at the beginning of this transmission. Most of what we think we know is keeping us trapped in 3D. If you can sit with that and get that, it'll change your entire life. It'll change you from being an automatic reactor. You won't need to defend anything anymore. I mean, yeah, I'll defend love. I'll defend my right to my own health and immune system. I will defend children to my death. However, I don't need to defend anything. My point of position, my PowerPoint is I know nothing. And I'm cool with it because I figured it out. When you have to hold on to something that you know or a belief, this is why I talk about our belief system as a prison. All right, so say you got a belief. My hand represents a belief. Here's my belief. That's it. I'm not willing to look at anything else. All these people in the universe are trying to give me all these gifts. We don't know anything. We're in nursery school with what we think we know. The only reason we want to think we know stuff is so we can feel safe and hold on to a false sense of control. There is no control. Let go. Go on the roller coaster ride and frickin' have the time of your life. There is no control. That's a weight that holds everybody down. Get excited. Little kids don't try and control. They just go, I'm going to fly on a rocket ship. You know, I'm an angel. I'm a fairy. That's the key. Start every day with a fresh template, 0 point. Not bringing anything in. Well, my mom always reacts like this. Every time you hold on to how you think somebody is or what they do, you solidify and carry that into your now new moment. When you learn to go, oh, you mean this is a fresh 0 point moment? I can pull in anything I desire. Oh, then the game starts to get fun because now you're choosing to only water thoughts, to only use words, frequencies, vibrations, and emotions, to only hold those in your vibrating vessel that are going to attract more of what you desire. This is the secret that they didn't put in the movie, The Secret. Isn't that interesting? I love it. So, super key. Super key. Become the conscious observer. Every judgment is about you. Not going to move out of 3D by holding on to any judgments. So the invitation is, if you haven't done it already, to get busy and to go through this process. Process again. Step 1, complete inner healing. There's no way around it. And it's so easy. When you get to where you can thank people, the people that pissed you off the most, you'll know that you graduated. You'll feel it. You'll be telling everybody, I can't believe what's happening. All these incredible things just keep showing up in my life like magic. Abundance, incredible people. The only people that are around me are people that are, talking about conscious awareness and how great everything is and talking about only new earth timelines and the magic and the miracles that are showing up. And they're not magic and miracles. They are the law of frequency and vibration as a magnetic being. So cool when you get it, when you have that aha moment. So this will eventually, very soon, be taught to children at the youngest age. The book is being converted to a book for parents and children. Because when children learn to stop and dismantle a trigger, an emotional reaction, or a judgment, or a less than thought, they're not going to go through 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of holding that shit and carrying it with them. So this is exciting. And you can get it too, you know. You want to grab the book, I always put in a half-price link in my on my lives if you want to download it. There's also a course that comes with 4 hours of PowerPoint trainings that you can get for under $100, the price of going out to dinner or going partying at the bar, or what, if anybody still does that. And watch these 4 hours of PowerPoint trainings, and you will start to see the program and what it does. And you'll never, once you see it, you'll never be able to unsee it. And that is conscious awareness in action. That shifts your entire dream. Moving forward, you'll never go back. You might fall back in once or twice, but once you see the programs and how the ego does what it does, and it tries to convince you that it's right, and it defends, and it gets that frequency where it feels like it needs to judge others, and it's keeping so many people stuck in 3D. Unless they learn these tools, they're not going to get out. That's all there is to it. So really, really key. So there's a link for the book on the same page as the digital course, if anybody wants to grab that. And completely life-changing. And if you say, you know, it's interesting if people go, well, I don't have any extra money to do the course or whatever. You'll never say that again after doing the course, because you'll understand that money is just a frequency. And this was a big one for me, because I was BROKE most of my entire life, because I grew up with people mirroring lack to me my entire childhood. I grew up hearing that money didn't grow on trees, money was scarce. The external hologram knows how to do it to you good. Man, this whole money control system that's being dismantled, it was smart and diabolical the way they put it together. Fake money that all the people in control aren't responsible for, and then they generate income and taxes off of everybody else doing the work. It's slavery. It's slavery, plain and simple. It was never supposed to be this way. And so when you say you can't afford something, it's interesting to look at how, for some reason, you always pay your rent, you always have money for your bills, and you have money to go out and party on the weekends or buy yourself things. But it's amazing when it comes to doing the most life-changing thing one could ever do, that a lot of the times I see people put this last. And I laugh, because I used to do it. I'm like, I can't afford that course. You know, I went $500 for that, or $2,000 or whatever. I can't afford that. And then I got mirrored on that, and I was like, oh, I'm creating my reality. I created it. So that's what showed up in my life. More lack, more lack, more lack. And this is the key around money that they don't tell you. I paid for all of the money courses. I paid for them. They didn't do anything for me. EFT tapping. Money comes to me easily and effortlessly. I did all that stuff. Hypnosis, the 12 CD set. Didn't do jack shit for me. Why? Because none of them taught me how to go in and remove the underlying belief. It wasn't until I figured out that every thought, every word, every agreement is a magnet. So here's what I had to do in the beginning for money. I had to fake it until I saw enough evidence that the hologram shifted. So I'll give you an example. I talk about creating my day every single morning. And everybody that goes through the Waking Up in the Dream transformational experience with me commits to doing it every single morning while they're still in bed, while the mind is quiet. And if you wake up and your mind's not quiet, like I do sometimes, because I'm journeying at night and sometimes I'll have weird dreams and I'll wake up and I'll be like, it'll be funky. So what do? I breathe and I rub on my body and I love on every one of these trillions of cells and I smile. What does that do? It immediately drops me down into my heart and it stops all this crap from running. This is a process and you learn to feel it throughout the day. So everybody that goes through this journey begins their day every morning creating their reality while they're still in bed in a 0 point state. Then they set alarms on their phone to go off 15 to 20 times a day, and they come back for 1 or 2 minutes throughout the day, and they do it again. Most people on the planet don't even think about doing this. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? That instead of consciously creating our reality and resetting our magnet over and over and over until we just operate in love, abundance, joy, kindness, generosity, excitement, the higher frequencies, because we've seen the program and it's like, I'm not going to allow any of those low vibrational thoughts into my reality anymore. I'm done. I've seen it. I saw how we were intentionally programmed, and I say no more to that. Yes, it can be done. And yes, it can be done quickly. I see it happen with every single person I journey with. It's not about if it's going to work for you. It's dive in, use the tools every single day, get excited about it, and it'll change every single thing in your life. Relationships, abundance, health, because it changes your entire inner frequency, which is responsible for your health. All these cells that are loving on you every day. How many of you love on your body every single morning and throughout the day? Man out there. How many of you love on your body every single day, consciously, without missing a day? I don't know that many people that do until they journey with me. And I'm not saying that because I'm so cool. I had to learn this because I had a lot of wounds. I didn't grow up with a dad. I grew up with a couple of stepfathers, but they weren't my dad. And there was a big hole there. And there was abuse and all kinds of other stuff. Okay, that was part of my soul journey. Thank you guys for perfectly playing your role. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm not pissed at any of them. I'm not pissed at my uncle who used to take me in the woodshed or the garage and beat me with a big piece of wood this wide over my ass. Didn't like it. That was his programming. I thank him. Thank you, Uncle Fred. I love you. That's when you know you're healed. That's when you know that you've forgiven everybody. Super key. Super, super key. So again, the first part of the process is to move out of 3D, and it must be done. Complete inner healing, complete forgiveness, complete self-love, loving on yourself. It's not queer or weird. If you think it is, then you're running a deep-ass program that's keeping you from ascending. Self-love is the greatest thing ever. It's the key. Not from the ego, I'm so great. No, but when you can go, oh, I love myself. I've been through hell. I sat in my garage with a gun to my head, suicidal. And I pulled myself out of it. I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. And I said, there must be more to this dream. That's it. And you can move through it so freaking quick now with the tools. It's so great. Everything's accelerated. Second part of the process after complete inner healing, which again can be done so quick. It's not so hard and so difficult. You don't need somebody else to do a reading for you. If you want to play in those fields, that's great, but that's giving your power away. It really is. Dive in, freaking forgive everybody and heal that shit. Boom. Come on. Only the ego doesn't want to do it because it feels safe and it doesn't know who it would be if it didn't still hold on to that story of what happened to you. Because then it would have to go, oh, now I'm in 0 point and I just get to be loving and happy every single day. That feels a little bit weird. Freedom feels weird after you've been a prisoner of your story for 4, 5, 6, 7 decades. You seeing this? You seeing these programs? It's so great. So great. I love it. It's so much fun too. When you can move through it with that level of awareness isn't that interesting? Oh, I just got pissed off at my computer because it crashed. Isn't that interesting? You hear people sometimes say, I'm having a really bad day. I always chuckle when I hear somebody say that because I used to be that guy. I wouldn't have one bad day. I'd have a shitload of them all in a row every day sometimes. Now, this isn't to say that nobody has a bad day if something really horrible happens to them. I'm talking about the average person that goes, I'm having a really bad day. What it usually is 9 times out of 10 is they had one trigger, they didn't have the tools, and they let their ego run and feed on the story all day long about how he or she always does this, they always do this. And another thing, it's like all the ladies at the hair salon that are all bitching about their husbands. And I'm not getting down on women or anybody. You know what I mean? It's feeding. You surround yourself with people that feed the poison. It's crazy. Crazy. But once you see it, you're like, oh my God, this feels toxic. I don't want to be around any of this shit. Then you start moving out of 3D. Super powerful. Super powerful. So the second part is completely dismantling the belief system. Noticing when you need to defend, react, judge. Anytime you're the automatic reactor, that's the program. That's 3D. You just anchored yourself back down into 3D. So great when you begin to track every day and write it down at night. You'll start to dismantle decades of programs and you'll go, oh my God, I've taken all these other courses and read all these other books and I didn't even realize all the programs that my ego is still running and defending. You can't see it until you see it because you'll defend it because that's what the ego is taught to do because it thinks it needs to protect you. It's mind-boggling when you see it. And once you see it, you'll never forget it. It's great. I love it. So I'm going to check some questions. There's the book link. Anybody interested in doing the 30-day journey with me? I'm completely booked up right now, but in about 2 to 3 weeks, I will have a few spots open. There's kind of a waiting list, but it's first come, first serve if you claim it and work it out with me for the exchange. And again, all my videos on my YouTube channel are free. You can go there and watch them over and over and over. I do not hold back on any of these lives on sharing any of my tools. I don't go, well, if you really want the good stuff, you got to pay for my high level, mastermind course. No. I share all the tools on every single live. That's why I get excited. And I usually do an hour to 90 minutes. And I'm grateful that it appears that there's 19 people on here that have hung on here. Because to me, this is as valuable or more valuable than anything else. The only thing that could be better than this is to be out in the world doing it and really creating and affecting the quantum field and loving and doing what you love, man. Out playing with the animals, playing music, doing art, uplifting other people, getting your feet on the ground, standing in a stream, smelling the flowers, the orchids, playing with the dragonflies, whatever it is. That's it. Otherwise, it's like being aware, watching the programs. How often, and I do this almost every evening, late at night, in between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. After my body has gotten some rest and calmed down for 3 or 4 hours, I wake up every night and I journey. It just happens. And that's when I lie there and I watch what's running. And it's interesting because a lot of the thoughts aren't even ours. They're just in the collective. And you can observe and go, that's the weirdest thought of who could even think up a thought like that? That's some weird shit. And then I breathe and I get excited because I know that at 2, 3, 4 a.m., that's when things are calm. And I'm in the field. I am in 0 point. And that's when most of my downloads come for my book, the courses, the topics, dealing with clients. That's when the stuff comes in. My greatest inspired ideas. I'm not saying they're great from an ego standpoint. I just mean the ones that excite me the most, the ones that I end up turning into travel and concerts or art or projects or bringing people together, you know? So the question is, how often do you sit with yourself and just get quiet and observe with a smile and thank your body for loving you unconditionally? Can never do this too much. This is a bigger key to health than anything you will ever pay to buy the healthiest drink, the healthiest food, supplements. Yeah, they're great because they contain a vibration. But talking to your cells and loving on your body and seeing the water coming out of the shower on you is the greatest vibrational gift ever. And putting your feet on the ground, your bare feet, connecting with Mother Earth, and actually envisioning the bottom of your feet with roots coming out and connecting with all that intelligence and incredible earth energy underneath you. That's health. You don't need a doctor when you do that every day and get playful with that. So I'm going to go in here and check some comments. And thank you, everybody, for commenting and for sharing these tools. Thank you, Davia. Davia is on the journey with me right now, and she's rocking it. She's an amazing person to connect with. For anybody that would like an amazing, consciously aware, artistic, multi-talented, incredible, feminine divine. How's the energy looking for the next while? Well, let's see. To me, it's looking freaking incredible. Why? Because I understand that I'm creating my reality. This is an interesting question. I'm going to be careful how I phrase this because I don't want anybody to think that I'm judging them. This is all just mirroring for everybody. And thank you for asking this question. Okay, this is great. How's the energy looking for the next while? Okay, what if I told you that it was going to get really freaking intense and the shit was going to hit the fan and to prepare and you better go out and buy all this food and water for the next, 2 weeks to 90 days. How would that make you feel? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I know how my energy's looking for the next while, in the while after that, in the while after that, in the while after that. It's looking like excitement and gratitude and freaking joy, like a little child. Every day, every moment, every time one of my alarms goes off, every hour, every conversation, every time I sit down to drink something. That looks brown because I have cacao in it. It's not that I never wash my glass. Every time I eat something, every time I take a breath, every time I get to engage with somebody on a conversation, the energy is looking incredible. And if something shows up that triggers me or feels less than, I have the tools to stop and go, Isn't that interesting? There's a little bit of trigger. I almost judged, or I started to use low vibrational words like want, wish, hope, try. Those are weak ass, what I call spell words. Those were created intentionally so you would not create and magnetize into your reality that which you desire. Why? This is really key to understand. The subconscious, which is creating your reality based on your thoughts, your beliefs, and the vibrational frequency that we are holding, and this is key, whether we are consciously aware of it or not. Okay? So when they created spelling, and they named it spelling because it creates spells. They have to tell you what they're doing when they do an inversion. An inversion is a deception that makes you think something is doing something for you, but it's actually doing the opposite for you. It's a dark spell. So spelling. The subconscious only knows how to take direct orders. So when we say, I'm trying, that's weak. The subconscious goes, he's trying. It's not here yet. Don't worry about it. Can't show any evidence that it's here because he's trying. He's wanting. He's wishing. He's hoping. Those are direct commands that it's not here yet. And I see almost everybody that I speak to and I journey with in the very beginning, they go, I'm trying to change. I'm trying to manifest this. I want to manifest this. And I go in and I mirror them. And I get them to write down those words and to stop and catch them every single time. And guess what? Within a week to two, they're mirroring themselves. They've got it. That program is dismantled. And you observe how many people are saying want, hope, try, need. Need means I'm giving my power away. I don't understand that I'm creating it when I intend. It is here now. This is what we do first thing in the morning. Anything we desire, it's here now. I'm smiling. My frequencies align. I see the clients, the money. I can give money away because it's just an energy. And I know that more comes. And when you get in that state of mind, money flows. You no longer go, I can't get the money together for this or that or whatever. That's bullshit. That's your old program telling you that you believe in lack because you were taught that. So, another wonderful, life-changing gift. Stop with the spell words. Catch them. Write them down. Have somebody mirror you, a good friend or whatever. Never use the word want, try, hope. Don't even wish somebody a happy birthday. Well, it feels good, and that's great. I intend you have the most incredible birthday ever. Now, this isn't about ego. This is about if you use wish for the birthday, then your subconscious is more likely to use it to wish somebody else something. This is about the spell. It's not about the feeling, well, I really wish somebody with my whole heart. I understand that. That's why the spells work so well, because people think that they're doing something good, but the subconscious can only deliver and work on direct commands. And this is why I'm delivering it passionately, because the ego will think, well, I'm doing something good. Yeah, your intention is good, but your subconscious only takes direct commands. So never say, I am trying again. Catch it. I want. No. That means you don't have. That means you're giving a direct command and sign to your subconscious that you do not have. That is lack. You're feeding that program. And therefore, you can only attract the timeline that mirrors that back. Why? Because that's the magnetic frequency that you're holding. And you can only attract and pull in that which you are a direct match to frequency-wise. Super key. There should only be one grade in school. Grade 1. These tools, then you're done. If you want to learn something else about how to create or how to work with art or how to design things, that's great. But school only needed to be one grade. Inner healing, learning the frequency of thoughts, words, and feelings, and then don't have a belief system unless it's I'm unlimited in every moment, and that's what I create from. I don't know that many people that create from a truly unlimited standpoint. And this is a really good question to ask yourself. Do I truly believe that I'm unlimited? Because most people, I ask them, what do you want to be happy? They'll all tell me the same thing. Well, I want the house that's paid off, a car, I want my health, and then I want the love of my life. And they always use the word want. They don't even realize that they're keeping that away from them by using the spell words. I'm like, really? And then the last question is, because the last thing they always say is, and enough money in the bank to never have to worry again. I always laugh when they do that, because I used to do the exact same thing before I saw the programs. So then I'm like, okay, great. Get playful. We're just having a conversation. We're busting programs, and I love doing that because it's my favorite thing to do, because it frees people from this 3D matrix. So I say, so what's your number? What is that amount of money in the bank, which is fake, and the money's fake anyway, in a fake money system? What's the amount that's going to make you feel safe, happy, good? What's enough? And I watch their mind go, and they try and decide. I watch them. They try and decide on what that number is going to be. And I see the gears grinding. Well, it used to be $1 million, but now $1 million won't even buy a house in California. How about 100 million? Well, if I'm going to think about 100 million, how about $1 billion? What could I do with that? Well, it's all based on fear and the false sense of control. The money program will keep you trapped in 3D every time. There's nothing wrong with having a ton of money. But when you figure out the programs, you won't need it. You'll just always have enough. And you can give it away. You can donate, you can create charities, whatever, but you'll never go, I can't afford that. You'll never, ever, ever say that again. Because that is you commanding to your subconscious and to the universe, capital Y, capital O, capital U, universe, that you can't have it and you aren't worthy. Because you're believing. And remember that what are the three letters right in the middle of the word believe? L-I-E. Interestingly enough, those same letters are in the middle of the word religion. Now, I don't want to trigger anybody that's, clinging to religion. If that's working for you, that's great. I grew up in the church my whole life. It's a program. That's a whole nother conversation. And in fact, I wouldn't even get into it because nobody wants to hear that they've been duped their whole life. But for those that do want to hear it and want the way out, this is a step-by-step key. And so let's grab some questions. Hey, Elaine. Hey, Valentina. Great to see you. Vanessa. Eric, my brother. Brenda. Donna. Lisa. Thanks for all the love. I appreciate you guys so much. Rhonda. Anthony's out there. Tish. Okay. So if anybody has a question around anything and you want to post it in right now, Post it in. But number one, are you getting excited? Are you getting excited? Yeah. This is all about, okay, Sue Elaine, I observe my judgmental, critical mind. I forgive myself. Super key. Super key. If you haven't forgiven yourself, then just know that you're going to attract more and more people in situations that are going to reflect that frequency. It's so simple when you figure it out. If I haven't forgiven anybody, I better get busy. And it's not even really about getting busy. You can do it in a day. You can do it in an hour. And you'll know when you've forgiven everybody, including yourself, when you can thank them for perfectly playing their role on your soul contract. All right. Anthony's got a question. How do you deal with a situation where you're going and moving towards 5D, but your ex is stuck in 3? Oh, good one. And you have a 6-year-old involved. Okay. Yeah, this is a good one. Because I journey with a lot of people that are in relationships with others, and they got to decide whether they're going to stay with the other one or they're going to gently mirror the other one. But what I would say is the most important part is, because you have a 6-year-old, is to keep everything clean, playful, and be a wonderful mirror for that 6-year-old. And get your ex on board with that commitment. Whether you guys agree on everything or not, don't let the child pay for any of your programs or wounds. You know? And here's the number one thing that I can tell you, Anthony. When you shift your frequency and you do the inner healing, everybody in your relationships will shift. I see it every month. Every month. I'll give you an example. Just finished journeying with one girl. And in the beginning, and this happens with not just one person, but this is a pattern when people come and begin the waking up in the dream journey with me. They're like, every time I talk to my mom, she's always XXX. She's always judging me. She's always I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting? I love it. Wow, how great. And their ego. And I have them name their ego at the beginning of the journey every time. Like I name mine Larry. Why? So you can see it. Because you cannot dismantle a program that you cannot see. And the ego is tricky because it will convince you that you're right every chance it gets, because it wants to be right and protect you, and it wants to control you. But you can shift it from this shoulder over to here and get it to have fun every day by giving it a new assignment, which is to have fun. How much good can we create? How excited can we get? How much good can we magnetize and pull in to our reality by being loving and excited every day and tracking our frequency and no longer allowing any judgments, any less than thoughts, any thoughts of lack. We don't let them in anymore. We just don't. And that's what this process does. Plain and simple. So, what this particular woman was doing was, okay, so her mom's doing what she does, and she's believing what she's believing, and she's talking about, my mom always does this. And guess what? On the other end, her mom has a completely different story of what the daughter does every single time. So isn't that interesting? They're both holding a story of what the other one's doing, and they're creating more of it, and they're just feeding that, and they don't even realize it. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that great? Love it. So then I take the person through the process of week 1, and we do the inner healing, and we forgive, and we start to see the programs, because now they're watching the trainings, and they're going through the tools in the book and the process, and they're tracking everything at the end of the day, and they're going, oh my God, I didn't even see I was running these programs. Everybody's running these programs. That's how they've got everybody trapped in 3D. Boom. they start to wake up, and they will never, ever be able to go back and get sucked into those programs again. Yeah, they might have to practice a little bit, but once they see it, once they see the program, you will never be able to unsee it again. Priceless, priceless. Worth more than any 6-year college, worth more than $1 million, worth more than your house, worth more than your health. Well, maybe not your health, but it's priceless. And when you learn to see how to create your reality and how frequencies work, you'll never be in lack again. Never. Guaranteed. Unless you choose to be. And you'll choose not to be because you'll feel the frequency of that and you'll know that you're creating and magnetizing more lack. You just won't do it anymore. So great. I love it. So I get the woman to change her story because her story is every time I get on a call with my mom, she shows up like this. Why would you want to pull that with you into a new day like Santa Claus pulling a big bag full of stuff that he doesn't want with him into your 0 point? Every new moment is 0 point. That means nothing is there unless you pull it in and give it energy. So I get her to start loving on her mom and forgiving her. And I talked to her the next week and she goes, "You'll never guess what happened." Yeah, I know what happened. I mean, I don't know until she tells me, but it happens with every single person that uses these tools. My mom totally shifted and I didn't even say a word to her. Isn't that interesting? Why? How's that possible? Is there some kind of thing going on between us, our higher selves, when we're sleeping at night? I don't know. What I do know is everything is frequency and vibration. And when we change our frequency and vibration, it affects everything in our reality. Why? Because nothing's separate. Your mom is you. Isn't that interesting? The person that pisses you off is you. Isn't that interesting? If you can wrap your head around this, everything in your life will change. It's so great. So thank you, Anthony, for that question. So again, to wrap up on your question, Anthony, shift your frequency. Don't project. When you can have a calm conversation with somebody and invite them into seeing something, that's when things begin to shift. But until you've done it, don't go projecting and judging and telling other people what they should do, because they're going to feel that. If you invite somebody calmly and you're owning that frequency, they're going to feel it as a warm, gentle, loving invitation. If you judge them, they're going to go like this because they can feel the toxicity of your lower vibrational frequency. This is why people in relationships, they don't work out, or so many of them just settle. Yeah, he's always been like that. They don't have the tools to go in and lovingly heal this stuff. And this is 5D relationships. So I won't get in a relationship with anybody unless we can sit down naked and air it all out, all fear, anything that's coming up, anything, shame, guilt, because that's the doorway to our freedom. And if you can't be in a relationship with somebody where you can be 100% naked and honest, then you're kidding yourself. This is where we're going. So thank you for that question. Okay, any other questions? Let me see what we got. Okay, so okay, cool, Elaine. I did not grow up with a mom or dad. Yeah. Okay, cool. So if you understand that that was part of your soul contract, so you could learn compassion, you could learn street smarts, you could support other people and see that a lot of homeless people are just smart. Isn't that interesting? They've decided to not be in slavery for 65 years so that they could become retired. Another spell word. Re to mean to recycle. to do over and over. Tired, you know what that means. So chasing the dangling carrot. If this triggers anybody, look at your trigger because it's yours, it's not mine. I'm not trying to piss anybody off. I'm here to provide freedom with people that want to look at the programs. So thank you for sharing that, Elaine. You're amazing. Yeah. So again, Lisa, how's the energy looking for you for the next while? Tell me. I love you. All right. Any other questions? Let's see what we got. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Ash. Whoops. I'm enjoying this. I knew I met you for a reason. Yeah. Oh, Ash. Oh, my brother. Ash is in Chiang Mai. Okay, cool. Yeah, we got to reconnect, brother. I remember the time that I went to this party and I didn't know anybody, and I was riding my scooter and I just showed up because I saw all the lights and the music, which are those are my magnets. And Ash was super cool to me and invited me in. Yeah, brother, gives me goosebumps. Okay, we'll reconnect. Reach out anytime. I love it. Yeah, we're all connected through frequency. Okay, cool. So Lisa's response is she's excited. I love it. Yeah, because if you're not excited, then what are you magnetizing in? And this isn't to say you're going to be excited every single second of the day, but this is about tracking your frequency. Are you doing what you love? That's a big one. Because many people, when they come to me, they're like, Jeff, I'm not doing what I love, but I've got a 401k and I got all this shit invested. I'm like, really? Sounds kind of heavy to me, you know? And your job is owning you. So the key is to go, what do I love? What do I love? Am I selling my soul for money? If you are, and that's your choice, it's cool. I'm not judging that. You know, I lived in a recording studio for over 20 years, slept on a mattress, flipped it up every day. I mean, my studio was buff. It was tiny, it was small, but it was all love. I had a sacred altar in there with crystals. I had a mirror ball. I had lights and lasers and sound plates. And you came in there and it was an experience. But the point is, I slept on a mattress so I could do what I love, and I didn't have to pay rent in Southern California, so I could make it work. I just did what I did what I had to do. And I loved it. And I checked out of the jobs that gave me carpal tunnel and shingles on my chest from stress, from working 18 hours a day, chasing the dangling carrot. Not going to do it. I'll sleep in the park before I go and sell my soul to the system. That's just me. But I've been here before. And I'm not willing to do it. And when you're unwilling to give away your power, watch. You'll attract in exactly what you need. And need, I don't use it. You'll attract exactly what is best for you. See, I caught the word need. It's a low vibrational word. So when you play with these low frequency words, you'll begin to catch them. And the more you do, like sometimes when I'm journeying with somebody in the beginning, they don't understand if I don't use the word WORK, so I spell it out. That way, they know what I'm talking about, but they also get the download of, I'm not using that spell word, but I'm showing it to you until you get that we use another word like my vocation or my passion or what I do to generate financial magic into my hologram. So catch that stuff. Yeah. So, okay. So there's no more questions. If there is, pop it in. What we're going to do, since we have 25 incredible people on here, we've got all this energy right now. Here's a link to this journey if anybody is feeling it and they want to do it. I only journey with 4 to 5 people a month because when you journey with me, we do a really deep call every week that's recorded so you can go back and watch it. You get all the PowerPoint training so you will see the program guaranteed. You will be tracking this stuff every single day. And the best part, one of the best parts about it is you have access to me every day through voice messages. So you don't have to wait a week when something comes up. Because when you're in the beginning and you're starting to dismantle this stuff, we do it real quick. So it literally is priceless. So there's a link. So now that we have all these incredible 24 people on here at 1 hour and 24, let's do this. Let's take our collective energy and really amplify the field hugely before we go. Okay? So again, big love to everybody. Thank you for staying on. I have my wonderful friend Ploy's incredible bowl right here. I've got my little guys because I travel. Whoops, everything's reversed in my hologram with the camera. But this one, thank you, Ploy, for your incredible bowl. So we're going to use this, but I'm also going to use my Native American flute. And so if you guys will just settle, we're only going to do this for another few minutes, and really know that you're going to affect the quantum field. I'm going to pull up a little bit of reverb here on my flute. Yeah. And we're going to tap into our hearts. I'll do my best not to make this feedback. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to mute that for a second. So what we're going to do, we're just going to drop into our heart and we're going to ask and intend, may anything that needs to be known to me from my higher self be known. And then what we're going to do is we're going to smile and we're going to love on every single one of our cells. And we're going to give gratitude for all these trillions of cells that are unconditionally loving us in every single moment since we've been in the womb, purifying our blood, beating our heart, doing all these millions of computations every day, speaking, watering our eye sockets. I mean, everything. It's beyond what you can even comprehend. This is unconditional love. So we're going to love on our body, and then we're going to thank every single person, every single plant, every single animal, Mother Earth, for unconditionally loving us, and we're going to blast the field. So here we go. So get your smiles ready. This is really, really key. All right, here we go. Feel it. Feel it. My foot's clogged. How funny. Okay. Isn't that interesting? Really feel it. Love on yourself. Love on everybody for being your greatest teachers. Ramp it up. Know that you are affecting, I'll mute that for a second. Know that you are affecting the entire collective around the planet and beyond. Are you feeling it? Are you smiling? This is how we magnetize and create our day every day. We see it as already here. We're kicking ass. We came here to shift this. We're doing it. See that going out to everybody on the planet. See your energy in your heart just blasting the world in whatever colors of the rainbow that looks like. People that you don't even know yet are being affected by this right now. Anything you desire is already here. Do you see it? And do you feel it? Get excited, friends. I love everybody. That's taking the time to focus and give yourself and the planet this gift. This is how we shift it. This is how we do it. We did it. It's done. We're kicking ass. High five to everybody. I love you guys. Thank you to everybody that shares this. Hey, Timmy, great to see you. I love you. You're back. Jose, Lisa, Ash, thank you. Yeah, I want to come down to Copenhagen. I was invited a couple of weeks ago again, but just haven't got on it. Yeah, man, send me a message sometime. I may even take the train down there. I'd love to be clued in. All right. Big love to everybody. Anybody has any questions or they're interested in grabbing one of the spots in a couple of weeks or a few weeks for the journey, there's the link down at the bottom. You can always go to the Portal to Awakening website. All the videos for support are free on my YouTube channel, Waking Up, or not Waking Up in the Dream, Portal to Awakening. YouTube channel /youtube.com, Portal to Awakening. Thank you guys. It's my absolute pleasure to be aligned with so many incredible people around the world. What an honor. All right. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the field. Big love.